The next step is critical, and that's finding the key of the original song. Now, there are many ways for finding the key, and like with many things in music production, the best way is to use the way that you find to be easiest and makes most sense to you. Now, if you already have the musical ability to figure out any key of any song, then great, you're ready to go. But if you don't, then don't be intimidated. I'm going to show you a couple easy tips and tricks for finding the key of the song. Now, the first thing to understand is you need to be able to distinguish whether a note or a pitch is higher or lower in relation to another note. And this is going to be able to help you pick out the notes of a song, a key, or a scale. So the easiest way to do this is to find the root note. And the root note is the first note of the downbeat of any section of the song or any progression. And the root note is also the note where all the chords are built. But we'll deal with the chords a little bit later. Now, an easy way to do this is just to bring up an instrument and play along with the song. So I'm going to add an instrument, and I'm going to check to open the library. And that's going to open the instrument library. And I'm just going to select an acoustic piano, like the Bosendorfer Piano Club. And now we've got a piano, and this will allow me to play along with the song, and I'm listening on each downbeat, and I'm trying to find the root note. And I'm just going to hunt around until I find it. So I've looped a section of the song here that's going to include the verse and the chorus. Okay, so there's the root note, and that's an A. And again, that's on the downbeat of each section. So let's play this again right here. All right, so right on that downbeat, we know that that is an A note. And that gives us a little ballpark, but now we need to specify a little bit further. And the easiest way to do this is to start to think, is it a major or a minor key? And a major or a minor key is going to help us get more specific to know exactly what the key is. And there's a couple easy ways to do this again. And if you know the keys or the scales in each key, you can just play that along with the song. If you don't know the scale of a particular key, there's a couple ways to find it out. You can go and buy a scale book and learn them that way, or at least have it handy. And we've also included in the source files a document that shows you some of the major and minor keys of some of the scales. But also, there's a little technique that I use to figure out any major or minor scale in any key. And that's by knowing the whole steps and the half steps in those scales. Now, a half step is going from one note to the next note on the keyboard. So for example, if we're on the A and I go one step up, all right, that's the A sharp. That's a half step. So that's a half step. A whole step is going two half steps. So this next note right here is a B. So that's a whole step away from the A note. And by knowing half steps and whole steps, I can apply a formula to figure out any major key. Now, any major key is comprised of a whole step, a half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. So knowing that will give me any major key. So starting on A, I'm going to go whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. So there's my A major scale. All right. So now I can play those notes in that A major scale along with the song and see how it sounds. All right, so once we hit that C sharp, instantly you can hear it doesn't sound right in the key or the tune of the song. All right, so that kind of rules out the A major. So now let's figure out the A minor scale. Now, using the whole step, half step method, any minor scale is comprised of a whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step. So using that formula, we can go whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step. So there's our A minor scale. So again, knowing those notes, I can now play it along with my song. All right, so all those notes sound pretty good, so now we've specified it's an A minor scale. All right, So next, after I've figured out the key, I want to figure out all the notes in that bass line. So now that I know it's A minor, I can play around up and down and figure out that bass line. And again, we're listening if it's going up or down. Okay. So once you figure out the bass line for both the verse and the chorus, I usually lay it down as a MIDI track, and that'll give me a reference to be able to go back once we go ahead and start writing our musical parts. So I'm going to hit asterisk, drop into record. Here we go. So now I know all the notes in that bass line, and I can keep that as a reference, and we've also figured out the key of the song, A minor.